It doesn't feel like something that can ruin your life in the moment. It feels small, quick, something you can move past. But in the United States, one mistake involving theft can follow you for years, sometimes for the rest of your life, because the legal system doesn't just look at what you took, it looks at the act itself, the intent behind it, and the trust that was broken. And once that line is crossed, the consequences can reach far beyond what most people ever expect. What seems like a minor decision can quickly become a permanent mark on your record, affecting your opportunities, your reputation, and your future in ways that are difficult to undo. Under U.S. law, theft is generally defined as taking someone else's property without permission and with the intent to permanently deprive them of it. And while that definition sounds simple, the impact of that action can vary depending on the value of the item, the circumstances, and the state where the incident occurs. One of the most important distinctions in theft cases is between petty theft and grand theft, because this determines how serious the charge will be and what kind of penalties a person may face. Petty theft is usually charged as a misdemeanor and may involve smaller value items, while grand theft is treated as a felony and involves higher value property, bringing with it much more severe consequences, including the possibility of significant jail or prison time. What many people fail to realize is how quickly a theft situation can escalate, because certain factors can increase the seriousness of the charge regardless of the value involved, such as prior offenses, the location of the incident, or whether any form of force or intimidation was used. For example, if a theft involves confrontation or threats, it can escalate into robbery, and if a weapon is involved, it can become armed robbery, which is considered a violent felony and carries some of the harshest penalties in the legal system. This means that a single mistake combined with the wrong circumstances can transform a minor offense into a life-changing legal situation. When someone is suspected of theft, the situation often begins with being stopped by store security or reported to law enforcement, and in many cases, businesses have the legal right to detain a person for a reasonable period while they investigate, which means you could be taken aside, questioned, and asked to return the item. At this stage, many people believe that returning the item will end the situation, but that is not always true, because the store may still choose to involve the police, and once law enforcement becomes part of the situation, it moves into the criminal justice system, where the consequences become much more serious and harder to avoid. If the police are involved, you may be questioned, cited, or arrested depending on the circumstances, and if an arrest is made, you will go through the booking process, where your information is recorded, fingerprints are taken, and formal charges are filed. After that, you will likely have to appear in court, where the legal process begins, and this is where the situation can become overwhelming, especially for someone who has never faced criminal charges before. Decisions made during this stage, such as how to respond to the charges or whether to seek legal representation, can have a significant impact on the outcome of the case and the long-term effects on your record. The penalties for theft can vary widely depending on the severity of the charge, ranging from fines and restitution to probation and jail time. And in more serious cases, prison sentences can be imposed, particularly if the value of the stolen property is high or if there are additional aggravating factors. In addition to criminal penalties, there may also be civil consequences, such as financial demands from the store, which are separate from the criminal case and can add to the overall impact of the situation. Many people are surprised to learn that even a single theft can result in multiple layers of consequences that extend beyond the initial incident. However, one of the most damaging aspects of a theft charge is the long-term effect on your criminal record, because once a conviction is entered, it can remain on your record and appear in background checks for years, making it more difficult to find employment, secure housing, or pursue certain opportunities. Employers often view theft-related offenses as a sign of dishonesty or lack of trust, which can limit job prospects, and landlords may also be hesitant to rent to someone with a criminal history, creating challenges that affect everyday life. Even educational opportunities can be impacted, as some programs and institutions consider criminal history when making decisions. For non-citizens, the consequences can be even more serious, because certain theft convictions can affect immigration status, potentially leading to visa issues, denial of residency, or even deportation, which means that the impact of a single mistake can extend far beyond legal penalties and into personal and family life. This is something many people do not consider at the moment they make that decision, but it can have long-lasting and far-reaching effects. The truth is that theft in America is not treated as a minor issue, even when the item involved is small, because the legal system is designed to protect property and maintain trust. And once that trust is broken, the consequences can be significant. What feels like a quick decision in the moment can turn into a process that affects your life for years, involving court appearances, financial costs, and long-term limitations that are difficult to overcome. In the end, the biggest impact of theft is not just the immediate legal trouble, it is the way it can ruin your record and follow you into the future, shaping your opportunities and limiting your options in ways that are not always obvious at first. One mistake can become a permanent part of your history, and that is why understanding the seriousness of theft laws is so important, because once you cross that line, the consequences are not always easy to reverse, and the effect on your life can be far greater than you ever expected.